There we go.
Good afternoon and evening, everyone. My name is Deems Morrione, and I'm with my friend Ruth Rassool. We are the creative team behind the Bitch Project, and so we thought we would kind of give a sort of narrative of our posts for the week, and so we're gonna do that. And we've been doing a lot of Zooming lately.
Yeah, we've been doing too much Zooming lately, haven't we? We've been Zooming all
much.
over the place. Because, well, our day job or our other vocation is to teach. And we have found ourselves in a situation where we can't get into our classrooms anymore. And we have to communicate. I haven't seen you. I haven't sort of been in the same space as you for 4 weeks.
Oh,
yeah.
That's an awfully long time.
I mean, it's lovely to see you in a shirt and tie.
Yeah, because lately I haven't. Yeah, lately I haven't. I've been conducting class from with no video, so I've been sitting here in a t-shirt and jeans most of the time.
I don't believe a word of that. I know. Knowing you as I do, I don't believe a word of that.
Because I would never walk into a classroom like this. I would feel naked. Yeah.
Well, you might be naked from the waist down. Who knows?
Never.
Never.
Not even in the shower.
No.
I have shower clothes.
But I thought I would pick out what my best friend got me, my little Roberto Cavalli scarf, because I was thinking, you know, you put a Zoom outfit together.
Oh, yeah.
You have to think about just the top half. So
yeah,
I went with that.
Yeah, and you want nice colors too. And that's a lovely blue, which is why your best friend got that for you. And it goes very well with your hair.
But I'm thinking I might need to repaint my wall because it doesn't go with my outfit now.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe. Or I could just move to another room in the house.
Or you could just move to another house. Because, you know, you've lived there, so you got to live somewhere else that you haven't lived.
I haven't lived in any other place as long as I've lived here. I didn't say that very well, but this is the longest I've lived anywhere. So
well, see, then it's time to live somewhere else.
No, there are other people in my house who are saying that we have too many stairs now.
Too many stairs.
And that, you know, some people's knees are feeling their age. I'm not going to say who, but
I'm certain it's not you.
No. Well, I wouldn't complain out loud. But I haven't been healed for a very long time. So it's difficult to feel like yourself, isn't it? When you don't have those social, what are they, Mr. Social Scientist? What are those things that we rely on, like ties and heels and things to make us feel like ourselves?
Crutches.
I was thinking maybe signifiers, but yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, if we're talking about sartoria, I mean, my crutch is definitely a tie, and yours is definitely shoes. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shall we chat about the week?
Yes. Yes, I'm ready.
So,
yes.
So cheers. So this week we covered for menswear on Monday, which is that's our menswear day, Menswear Monday. We took a look at Tom Brown's collection of menswear for fall. And, you know, I mean, I don't want to say it's typical Tom Brown, but it is in the sense that it's what you want from him.
Yeah.
He's playing with that sort of preppy look, and he's giving a kind of twist on it that's inventive and interesting, which you always get from him. And I'd say, I thought that the still photography that he used to put out the collection is very interesting. I liked the way he did that. Although, you know, when you and I took a look at it, we didn't quite see it the same way Vogue did. Although we love that Vogue writer Luke
That
Leach.
off the way.
Yeah, we well, right, but we like Luke Leach, and we liked his take. It's just that we saw it slightly differently because, I mean, the second I saw that photography, it brought me right to The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. That Peter Greenaway film from, was it 1989 or 89, 87? I don't know. It's hard to remember one's
That's what
nightmares,
I'm told. I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so wasn't that?
But when you look at that table scene, the dining scene, it does remind you of that movie, but it also looks like an oil painting.
Well, right, and there's that prominent oil painting in that scene in the restaurant, in that last scene of the film. And if you haven't ever seen it, all I can say, like I said in the post, is Helen Mirren in 1989 in Gautier. In Gautier. So you really should see there's rape and murder and violence, but you know, if those things don't get in the way, I mean, don't let that get in the way of you seeing Gautier.
Well, when the meal goes wrong, then
as it does, especially at the end there. Yeah. But yeah, it does kind of show this sort of it's kind of Tom Brown's interesting take on this weird Gilded Age we're going through, and it's a fantastic portrayal of excess and kind of secret backdoor deals and the kind of, you know, eating your own. I mean, there's all of this really interesting stuff in the photography of it. And as Tom Brown is a, you know, consistent critic of these things, but what is really great about it too is that you can't really judge this collection based on that photography because it's really hard to see the clothes. So if you go to the ready-to-wear collection, you see a lot of the same stuff, but it's, you know, you can see it walk because they released a video of the show. Right. You can see it walk. You can see the clothes. You can see how it.
See Tom Brown being visionary as he so often is. So he's already, like, he must be really good at chess because he's always a few moves ahead of everybody else. And I think he's, with that little tableau that he created, he's already thinking ahead. Okay, how are we going to deal with showing clothes when we can no longer go to the runway? So I think he's already, yes, he's still giving us a runway. He's still giving us that, but he's looking for other artistic ways to show off his designs.
I mean, and some of those, I mean, this really, if I had to say what really brought me into focus in the ready-to-wear, those coats are fantastic. I mean, well, yeah, you're always an easy sell on the coats, but
I grew up having to wear coats. It's cold, so you have to wear a coat.
Well, yeah, I mean, but what I really like is, you know, he does a lot of those unconventional looks for men. He has skirts for men. I mean, okay, some people are gonna say, well, they're just kilts, and some of them are kilts. But then, you know, if you look at what we have posted at the Bitch Project, and we have that picture from the end of the collection where he has, you know, sort of maxi skirt with a big slit, you know, that's not just for ladies anymore.
No, you could just stop and dismiss it as gimmicky. But if you think about it, as we do, and then you start to see, you know, you read it a couple of times and you start to see the nuance and the mastery behind it.
Yeah, and also that I mean, prominent sports figures, like prominent male sports figures wear this stuff. Sergei Ibaka,
Yeah.
Tom Brady, like lots of big name sports figures wear his clothes. And
as you know, a lot of our followers are saying, oh, well, this is silly. Who would ever wear this? But there are people that will wear this. Just because you don't get it.
I'll wear it.
Yeah.
If Tom Brown is watching this and he wants to send me something, I will wear it.
Yeah. Yes, you would. I would wear it.
I'll wear a hobble skirt.
Yeah.
Why not?
If you ever get back into the classroom, that will be it. That will be your debut.
Oh, hell yes. If I can wear a Tom Brown hobble skirt, hell yes, I'll wear it.
Well, what about Carolina?
Yes, let's move to Carolina. So for our women's wear for the week, we focused on Wes Gordon's new collection for Carolina Herrera. And there are some great looks here. The colors, I mean, the colors are fantastic.
You could just stop at that pink and orange. That cape.
Oh.
Oh.
It's fantastic, but you know, and because you are a lover of the jersey knit, he has that really great that blue. Oh, that's such a rich, beautiful blue. That jersey knit outfit with those kind of jade green boots. Oh, that's a fantastic.
The color combinations. I like when a runway show gives you what you expect.
Yeah.
What you want to see from a designer. So with Carolina, you want to see color combinations and the
and prints.
Yes. So they give you that, and then they give you something that you weren't expecting that just blows you away. And that's what this show
I mean,
did.
and that black dress with that, I mean, it's all tight through the bodice, and then it gives you that fanned out skirt. Oh, it's fantastic. And
then you go to the prints that you want to see in that suit.
Oh, yes. Oh, I mean, you're giving me LaCroix color, like early 90s LaCroix. I mean, how am I not going to love tangerine and fuchsia? And then that one you really liked, with the sort of light blue top with all the chiffon, and then the darker blue skirt.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but I took that and used it in another post later on in the week.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think what's really great about what Wes Gordon has done since he's taken over for Carolina Herrera, I mean, you know, I was beyond devastated when Carolina Herrera decided to retire, but, you know, I guess when you hit a certain age and you just don't want to do it anymore, somebody else has to take over for you.
Yeah.
And that was fantastic. That, I mean, Wes Gordon has done a great job. And what I like is that he's taken that kind of crispness that you get out of Carolina Herrera, and he's found a way to bring that to a younger demographic. And it's hard to do that, I think, and I think he has accomplished it.
I like the way they did the transition at that house, because it wasn't just Carolina's leaving, she's retiring, and you know, wish her well, and then here's a new person.
Right.
And it's like, you know, when you open a restaurant or when you take over a restaurant, you don't change the menu. You stick to the old favorites. You stick to what people want. Go
yeah,
to
you have to give people, yeah.
So, you know, in the first couple of shows that he had, we were thinking, okay, everybody was nervous. Are we going to see something completely different? Are we going to feel uncomfortable? And he eased us into this and made it his own, but he didn't just change everything straight away. So it still has that Carolina feel and look to it, but now he's made it his own.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I like what he's done, and also giving us those skirts with volume, the big belts, you know, and a lot of slim fit through the top. He's kept a lot of the silhouettes that she's famous for, and I really like that he's been able to adapt them and then kind of make it his own brand now, like so many younger fashion designers have done, moving on to different houses. But speaking of that, maybe we should move on and talk about Claire Waite Keller, because unfortunately,
Yes.
well, yeah, unfortunately, we both got that great big shock. You wrote that post, so let's talk about Claire Waite Keller and how we're both just devastated that she's leaving Givenchy.
Well, now that's going to be interesting. Well, I don't know if it's going to be interesting. It's going to be heartbreaking. She's gone, and that's that. We don't know who's going to replace her. So there isn't going to be that smooth transition that there was in the House of Herrera. Where she's going, we don't know. So all that we're left with to think about is what she achieved in the 4 short years that she was there. I think it said that she had produced 30 collections in that time.
Wow.
And her mission, so she'd been artistic director at Chloe, she'd worked for Pringles, she'd worked for Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, and did some time at Gucci as well. I mean, she had earned her place there. And to be the first female artistic director at Givenchy, and her mission is, it seems, was to revitalize the haute couture, which, you know, the little retrospective we produced this week, she more than revitalized haute couture at the Givenchy.
That stuff was fantastic. I mean, it was beautiful. Those things belong on display in the Louvre.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite? Could you name just one?
No, because I liked a great many things in every collection she put out.
I had a lot of fun going back and looking at, I mean, I started to look around in the ready-to-wear because I know you like the sleazy furs, so I had to go and find some.
I loved it. Well, and I also liked the stuff she did on was it Audrey Hepburn?
Yes. Yeah. That was just after the sleazy furs. So I think that was still in 2018. But and how clever is that they do this homage to Audrey Hepburn, because she was Givenchy's muse. So, you know, it seems that Claire Waite Keller had done her homework and was honoring the house that she was representing. And I think that maybe sometimes people didn't understand the references. Like maybe people didn't understand what sleazy furs was all about.
Probably.
Maybe people, you know, when they think of Audrey Hepburn, they think of Breakfast at Tiffany's in a little black dress, and they don't think about anything more than that.
Oh.
But then that
cigarette pants and a waist cape.
That whole, I think it was Fall 19 collection that was the Hepburn-esque. I think I just made up that word. There was so much more to it than just a little black dress.
Oh, yeah.
Claire Waite Keller knows that. And I think that sometimes people didn't receive it as well as they should have because they hadn't done the same homework that she had. Those last, the couture for 2020 is just stunning. I mean, I'm looking at the coats,
as you would,
coats, yeah, the ball gowns and the evening coats, and the work that goes into it. It's not just the design; it's the application of it, the beading, and it's just, if she doesn't go and follow and find herself a position where that's appreciated, that craftsmanship is appreciated, then I think it's going to be a great loss for everybody. And we're going to talk about this some more, I think, but you can't expect couture to be accessible to everybody.
No.
It's not for us to access, it's for us to stand back and be in awe and admire it.
I mean, think of we love that's always our favorite part of the fashion season is to look at couture.
Yeah.
Because it's cutting edge, it's out there, it's weird, it's expensive, it's beautiful.
And that's what you expect it to be. You want
because that's what you want.
She could deliver that. as can so many others, but
Quo pay.
yes. I think I'm in a little bit of mourning. I was in shock when I read that, and I thought, oh no,
I know.
it seems very sudden and abrupt and rude.
It does. Well, I mean, that is, yeah, that, I mean, we don't know what the story behind the scenes is, but whatever it is, whatever caused that is just tragic.
Yeah. It's business, I suppose, but it's not art. So
No.
business shouldn't interfere with art.
Well, okay. In fairness, I mean, this is art that you wear, and there is a business behind it. So that is going to be part of the calculation. It doesn't have to override all other concerns, though.
No, it shouldn't.
Especially not with somebody like her. I mean, I really want to know what the creative team at Givenchy was thinking. Was it just they wouldn't pay her enough? Was it that there was some kind of contractual disagreement? Was there some kind of, were they trying to step on her artistically? I mean, what was the deal?
If we hear that it was about artistic differences, I'll be really mad, because everybody else should just shut up and let her do her thing.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a business thing, then okay. If the focus was on couture, and it wasn't purely on couture because she was doing everything else. She was doing the menswear and the ready-to-wear and resort and everything else. So all that is where you get your commercial stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just, we don't know. We're just guessing. Maybe she just wanted to go back to England. Don't make that
now? Where would you rather be, Paris or London right now?
Are you asking me? Really?
Yeah, don't lie.
I'd rather be in London right now.
You would not. You'd rather be in Paris.
No, I wouldn't. Why would I?
Right now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If I had to choose right now, I'd pick Paris.
Well, okay, it's all on lockdown, so it doesn't really matter where you are, does it? It's not like you're going to sit in a little cafe on the water.
Yes, but if you're in Paris, then you get to see Emmanuel Macron as your leader coming out in a fantastic Dior Homme suit.
And not
and then you got to look at Boris Johnson.
Okay.
Did he go to JCPenney? Where did he pick that shit up?
Marks and Spencer. Oh. Yeah, there's no Savile Row in there, is there?
No.
Let's talk about something a little more pleasurable, shall we? Tuesday.
Oh, the superheroes.
I enjoy Spotlight Tuesday because you can be a little bit, there aren't so many rules. It's just whatever we want to spotlight.
Yeah.
Like that. And this, I'm trying to get away from talking about COVID-19 all the time and how depressed we all are and so on. But it does, I'm still looking for some meaning and trying to make some sense of where we are at the moment. And that makes me look at different ideas, like, how do we get out of this? Maybe we look to women as leaders, because if you look at it politically, look at the women leaders around the world who are doing a pretty good job, and in a lot of ways better job than the men are doing. And that made me think of female superheroes. And they've gone through...
well, Wonder Woman has always been my favorite superhero.
Yes.
So, well, Wonder Woman, and then if you want to talk about the nemesis, who... I don't think she's a superhero or a villain. I think she's her own thing, Catwoman.
Well, you've got to think for cats as well. So
I love kitties.
And when I was looking into this, I knew about Julie Newmar being the first Catwoman, but for me, it's Eartha Kitt.
Well, I mean, with those,
when I think of Eartha Kitt.
Well, okay, in that TV show, they were both so strong. You can't really choose. And I would honestly say, my favorite Catwoman is Michelle Pfeiffer. And when I was much younger, and went to go see that Batman Returns.
Kindergarten?
What's that now?
I said, were you in kindergarten then?
I must have been.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I was prepared to hate her in that role because I didn't really like her that much before that movie. I was like, oh, she's going to ruin it. She's going to be a terrible Catwoman, and she's my favorite. I love those. I mean, because it's not just that she was so good in the part and that they decked her out in fantastic clothes, but it was also the way she played the part, because she was somebody who had been pushed to the brink, literally, out a window. And she becomes a completely different person after that, where the old codes don't make any sense to her. She's not a good guy or a bad guy. She's just somebody who is beyond our concepts of good and evil, right and wrong, legal and illegal. None of those things make any sense to her. I mean, just like that fantastic scene where she's going into that department store. She has no malice. My students made fun of me the other day because I was giving this example in class, and I was saying there was no malice behind it. They're like, she blew up a building. I'm like, yeah, she blew up a building. She wanted to see sparks. She was not trying to get back at anyone. She wasn't mad at anybody. She's like, hey, I'm in a department store. I've got an aerosol can. There's a microwave. What could happen? And so she pushes the buttons and she has fun with it.
It's like the cat that swipes the stuff off the counter.
Yeah, they just want to see what's going to happen. And then that scene culminates in, because Batman and the Penguin are off measuring things and in a little fight with each other. And she does those backflips, and she just, like, as the entire department store behind her has gone up in flames and explosions, she gets right in front of them and she just looks at them and says, meow. And then she leaves. She has nothing more to say than meow.
She's a cat.
I love her.
But then Eartha Kitt was doing that too, with Burgess Meredith and Cesar Romero and all that.
Yeah, but it was campier. I mean, it was campy, like on the nose campy. Like, this is campy, but not like on the nose.
But it was the 60s, so
it was the 60s,
that.
I liked it. And then, of course, you want to go for straight up camp value. Then, of course, you talked about Wonder Woman, who Linda Carter, wherever you are, I love you. I worship you. I love Linda Carter. But then, I have found a place in my heart for a gal as well as Wonder Woman. She is fantastic. She plays it different, but I love it.
Have you seen the trailer for the new Wonder Woman?
I have. And Kristen Wiig as the bad guy?
Yeah.
I love when Kristen Wiig plays insane people.
But the soundtrack is the best part of that trailer.
Of course, it's supposed to be in 1984.
Right.
How can you not get a good soundtrack? I mean, I'm sure I wasn't born yet, but don't say a word. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all we need to say about.
That's right. I wasn't born yet, and it was fantastic, and that must have been.
But we need female superheroes, I think.
Absolutely, we do.
They have a different sensibility to the male ones. They're not about destroying everything, apart from blowing up department stores. But they're going to challenge your values more than, the male superheroes are just going to smash everything. The female superheroes are going to say, really? Is that how you want to behave? They're going to chastise you in that way. And I like that. They make you think more than the men do.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things that Wonder Woman does, and especially in those, those first few attempts from DC have not been the greatest films. I mean, as a DC fan, I hate to admit that those films are as bad as they are, but they're not super great. I'm glad they're doing another Justice League film. Hopefully that will wipe the bad taste out of all of our mouths over the last one. But there are some good points in that. And what I liked about that film was maybe they made Batman a little too extreme. But that I've never really liked Batman. I mean, I know that's a fan favorite, but I've just never. I mean, he's a rich pampered white guy who's basically beating up poor people because his parents were killed. Well, you know what, Effie, we all got pain. So I don't, so he just runs around trying to avenge the death of his parents. Like, you know what, those people that you killed, they have parents too.
Yeah. I did force my children to go and see George Clooney as Batman because I wanted to see him in a rubber suit. And
Yes, well, that's because you had ulterior motives.
Yeah, and my
Yes, of course you
say,
did.
no, we don't want to go. Yes, you do. You really want to go and see this. So
see, and that's child abuse to your. That's why now you have children who love Batman, because that's your child abuse. Just like you have children who say puns because of their father.
Well, that's not my fault. I can't be held responsible for that.
You did have kids with the guy, so it's the puns are. It's not really genetic, although maybe we could make that
I
argument.
think maybe it is. So I think there's a conditioning. Is it nature or nurture? I don't know.
Ooh.
So where did we go after that? That was.
So then, but then we had our Friday post was all about trying to find a way that we can still have runway shows, because in the age of COVID-19, I know there are some people around this country who are not taking this seriously, and don't get me started on them. I get it.
Kind of near you as well, aren't they?
One of our friends made a little Facebook post the other day about how people around your area are not exactly walking around with face masks and not really obeying the rules.
But they're not protesting with signs like your beach people are. Anyway, carry on.
They're always weirdos near the beach.
Yes.
Too much sun gets in their heads.
I know, and I must come and visit you again soon.
So anyway, but our Friday post was all about, how we sit down and talk about, it will be awful if we don't get runway shows anymore, because we love them. And if you are one of our regular followers, we always try to put, if there is one, we try to put a video of the runway show, because it's one thing to look at still pictures. That's why we only put some of the pictures in the posts, because we want you to go to Vogue's website and look at the full collection, because Vogue always you can't get better than them. They have the best photography, they have the best stuff, but we always include the runway shows, because it's one thing to look at still photography, but you want to see how these clothes walk.
You need the videos.
Because there have been times when we've both been, we're like, we'll watch a collection, we'll look at the still photography and be like, about this or that, and then we'll see it come down a runway and we'll be like, oh my god, that's fantastic. And so I've always loved runway shows, because it's not just because you get a really interesting view of the clothing and you can see it from multiple perspectives, but also because those are often really well produced. Okay, not everybody, but I think really there are a lot of different ways. And we talked about in the post, we put like those 3 ways we thought they could continue. Like you could do like what Tom Brown did with his still photography, but turn that into like a little mini movie. Like, why couldn't he have done like a little mini movie of that sort of like Hook the Thief, his wife and her lover thing, with that scene? I think that would have been really compelling if it had been filmed. I would really like to have seen those clothes walk and how they would wear on someone, and that the entire tableau would come through in a movie. It would have been really interesting. I would have really liked to have seen that. So if Tom Brown wants to do that for his shows in the future, because we don't know if we're ever going to be, we're in the era of COVID. We don't know if you can, when will we be able to get runway shows again? Do something like that.
I think there are a few alternatives that designers can, and I think they are starting to think about it. I don't think it's just him. They're looking at alternatives, as we all are in every aspect of our lives. So, okay, so how are we going to go out to dinner? How are we going to go to restaurants? We're not going to go into those crowded little places where you have to squeeze by the tables anymore. how are we going to go to museums?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be as crowded. How are we going to go and see theatre and concerts and so on? All those things are going to change. And we're not going to have anything that's crowded and germ-ridden and so on. And it's not safe for the performers, whoever they are, whether they're models or actors or whatever the artistry is. And I think they're going to come up with new ways for us to view. So we're doing this Zoom thing now, which we used to have to do for work a little bit, but not at the scale that we're doing now. And everybody's
Well, now we conduct our classes this way.
Yeah. So, education is another thing that's going to change. Where anything that involves a crowd will now be reevaluated, and we're going to realize that we can do these things just like we can teach this way. Designers are going to realize that they can show their clothes this way, and in some ways it will be better. It's kind of like, okay, here's a reference that you won't get, but it's like going to a sporting event. The difference between being there, the Olympics, the diving, let's say.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting at home and watching it, you get a better view of everything.
Oh, yeah, you can't see anything,
so to speak, than if you were sitting in the Olympic Stadium.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just, like, because those diving boards are up so high, you can't see, like, who's up there. Is that a human?
Yeah. Well, I've eventually found a reference that you would appreciate, but if you're...
I went to the Rose Bowl.
You did.
See, I even learned that there's a certain thing called downs and what that meant. I didn't understand what that, like, how far are you going down the field? I didn't understand what any of that meant. And now I know, and there's even a strategy I didn't even realize was there. I understand. I'm not going to say I'm like a big football fan, but I understand now that I've been to one of those things.
Well, just as you've got the hang of it, it's all going to change. So
that's true.
But yeah, I think this could end up being a positive thing. So now maybe we'll be able to see, remember like when we saw the Guopé collection, ooh, and we got to see it up close. You can't appreciate that watching a runway show.
No,
so maybe
because you can't see the clothes.
Yeah, maybe they're going to be able to, pardon the pun, zoom in on everything, and we're going to get a greater appreciation. And maybe we'll be able to see the process.
Yeah, well, I mean, because that was another thing we discussed in the post, that you could do, like, aside from doing like a little mini movie, you could do just like a film of a runway show. Like, but I would say, if you would want to keep it interesting, you would have to do something like do it the way Gaultier did it. Oh my! And don't even get me started. I'm still in mourning over the fact that Gaultier retired, because I think Gaultier should be forced to continue to produce collections until he drops dead. Why can't he be like Karl Lagerfeld? Karl Lagerfeld was in his 90s, and then he just dropped dead in the middle of a collection. Why can't Gaultier? Gaultier is just not trying hard enough, because he's not that old. He's only like, what is he, 70 or something? Is he late 60s? I don't know. He's not old enough to retire. He should have to do this for the rest of his life. I want to see Gaultier going until he drops dead.
Well, maybe he and Claire Waite-Keller are going off somewhere.
Yes, they could start their own house together, and yes, and they'll just like, he'll just do couture and she'll do everything else, because I love his shows. His couture shows, I mean, you can't beat them. I mean, I think the music is great. I mean, it's, if you wanted to say like what is a runway show, I think the marker for what a runway show is should be Gaultier. Because it's great lighting, music. They all come out on a classic catwalk, and it's choreographed. It's fantastic. I love what Gaultier does, and I think if they're going to make movies, like if they want to, because it may not be safe, maybe ever, to have all of us, like, you can't sit that close to people and not worry about what you might walk away with.
Especially if you don't know where they've been.
It's for sure. So then, if you have like the models come down a catwalk, you still have the music, you still have the lighting, you still have the clothes, you just don't have the people in there. And I mean, usually when you're in a runway show anyway, the models aren't supposed to get that close to each other. So,
and the other aspect of that that needs to change is the traveling that it requires. everybody descending on Paris or Milan or New York or wherever it might be.
Yeah.
That's all going to change.
Well, that's because we did that post before on how is this going to affect big events like awards shows and things like that, because we still want to see them, but there have always been issues that a lot of people ignore. Like there's a heavy carbon footprint. There's a lot of waste produced by these events. They use up a lot of electricity. Why not find different ways to do this that could maybe be a little bit more responsible?
Yeah. So I think there will be some positives that come out of this awful period that we're in now, where we're all starting to reevaluate and appreciate what we have in new ways. I mean, for us, okay, we don't like the fact, well, you love the fact that you don't have to come out and see people. But a lot of us are struggling with that we can't, you know, there's a freedom of movement that we can't enjoy.
I'm free to move.
Yeah, in your little space, and that's great for you. But this isn't really a hardship for us, is it? We have our health. I'm trying to find
currently.
And
this is like, I mean, this, I can't even complain. I mean, you're telling me I have to stay home?
Yeah.
And other people are forced to avoid me? That's like my dream come true.
But what a luxury that is, that you can isolate.
It is.
You have food, you have electricity, you have the internet, you have hot water, you can take as many showers as you like. You know, you've still got your ties. So there's nothing that you're lacking, really.
No.
That you wanted.
No, I'm not. And that is, I mean, I'd say I think a lot of our students are suffering much worse than we are, and I think that I think if anything gets me, it's that we're seeing so much suffering amongst our students.
I do feel sorry for those that were supposed to be graduating this year,
and that's just, I mean, you can't hold graduation ceremonies in this. I mean, because we have to figure. I mean, I still don't get these people who act like this isn't a big deal. It's like, you realize this is a fairly serious disease. This isn't just like, I mean, and it is true that some people are going to be more affected than others, but I mean, this really is something that's going to change the way we interact with one another.
Yeah, but we have to look at that as a positive thing. So maybe those things did need to change.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, maybe we don't need these big open air music festivals. That's not a great loss.
I mean, okay, that's easy for us to say because our music festival going days are behind us, but
yeah, but do you want to go back to Glastonbury or Keller or something?
Oh, God, no. Well, you know me. I mean, yeah, I don't like those big outdoor events anyway. No. So, you know, maybe our culture will be elevated in a lot of ways, and it'll be good for us. Maybe the designers can show their designs in a better way than, you know, having them walk down a runway and you see it for a moment. And I think there are so many creative avenues here. I think they should see this as a challenge, but also as a time that has come.
Yeah.
Well, we set the world right.
Okay. And I've still got some wine left.
Oh yeah, I have a little bit myself.
Well, should we do this again? Let's chat later.
Yes, obviously. All right.
Well, it was nice to see your face.
It was lovely to see yours as well.
Nice to hear your voice.
Yours as well.
Rather than just, you know, reading papers or whatever else we're doing. And we'll talk later.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Ciao.